the OG on the marquee Jaybird, and the cat who runs the chat with the stats, Statman Surge. We are Don't Hassle Us, We're Local. We're not a Quad City Sports Talk radio show. We're not the Quad City Sports Talk radio show. We are your Quad City Sports Talk radio show. Welcome to the conversation, Quad Cities. But first, the Dawn. Oh, what a day, what a day, what a day, what a day. Thank you for tuning in to Don't Hassle Us, We're Local here on ESPN 1170 AM. I want to thank you guys for tuning in on Facebook Live or on the app or watching on or listening on ESPN1170am.com. If you're watching on Facebook Live, you'll see that it looks like it's just me in the studio, and as of right now, it is, which isn't a big deal. I have guests coming in. Originally, we have planned a phone call at 12:10. That's going to have to be moved around a little bit. We have Tyson Blazer coming in to talk not just baseball, but, I mean, it is a big day. So we're going to talk a little bit about baseball, and then we're going to just discuss sports in general. Second hour of the show, we're going to have Ryan Lieber call from the Friendly Confines podcast. We're going to talk about the Cubs game tomorrow against the Marlins. Right now, I want to give you a heads up. Tomorrow, I'm not for certain exactly if we're going to have a show on ESPN Radio or if we're even going to do it on Facebook Live for a little bit because of the Cubs' schedule tomorrow. I know it's pre-game stuff is supposed to start at 12:45. I don't know if it's worth our time to just do, 30 minutes of a show or if we should just call it and, I don't know, let yours truly relax on a Wednesday that has 8 baseball games, including the Twins' first pitch at noon. I don't know. I have to talk with the powers that be what they'd like to do, then talk to the group and see what they want to do as well. Last night was a big Monday Night Football game. It was supposed to be big. The Chiefs dominated. They won 34-20. Patrick Mahomes was 31 for 42. He threw for 385 yards, had 5 touchdowns. Chiefs were the dogs in this. They were getting points on the road. Like Lamar Jackson said, they're our kryptonite, and he's right. I mean, they held him to basically nothing. I mean, he had 97 passing yards, had 83 yards on the ground, but only had 1 touchdown. So they looked really good. Like a lot of things on Twitter, people are just saying, give him the title. And you know what? They might just have to because of what's going on with the Tennessee Titans and the COVID outbreak. And now the Vikings are shut down. And we're going to talk about that in just a minute because I want to talk about the bubble. But like I said, last night, the Chiefs cruised to a win over the Ravens. And I don't even think outside of social media, it was that big of a deal. Looking around, driving past places, sports bars in particular, I didn't see a lot of bodies that I thought I would be there. Last time, the highest rated Monday Night Football game in ESPN was in 2009. That was the Vikings at the Packers. And we haven't even come close to sniffing anything like that. Obviously, we're in the middle of a global pandemic. People don't go out. But it's also a situation that people are not going out. I mean, the Generation Z, if you will, is not going out. And that's the problem. All right, they're not really watching sports. And people are trying to come up with things to give updates of that. Something you're going to be hearing a lot of soon is a thing called Buzzer. It's going to send you notifications if you sign up of how to watch live sports from whatever you stream. You're going to throw all your streaming into there. But Patrick Mahomes now goes to 10-0 in September during his career. He has 32 passing yards in the month of September and 0 interceptions. He's now the fastest quarterback to 10,000 yards. The man is a cheat code, an absolute cheat code. But real quick, why I go back to what I was saying about the sports bars. Here's what the global pandemic is doing. In 2019, there were 95,000 sports bars in the United States. According to the Athletics' Bill O'Shea, by the end of 2020, it's supposed to drop to 66,000. That's insane. Almost 30,000 businesses are going to be lost because of the global pandemic. I'm not here to tell you about what people are, tell you what to do, wear masks, or, quarantine, suspending businesses. That's not my thing. I'm just saying it's food for thought. A lot of local businesses are being hurt, and, it's also the effect of not only just the global pandemic, but the technology that we have. It's cutting cords, and people are, they're not going out to watch games. Now, about the bubble. The NFL might want to really, really get the powers that be together and figure this out. Because the National Hockey League just showed us last night how to do it. Last night, the Tampa Bay Lightning won the Stanley Cup. I'll be the first to tell you, I don't know a lot about hockey. And rarely I'm not even the type to be like, oh, it's the finals, I got to watch. It's just, okay. It's sports, it's on in the background. But keep this in mind. This is the first team championship awarded in North American sports since the start of the pandemic. It came exactly 200 days after the NHL stopped play. But it's the bubble that we should take a look at. They staged 2 bubbles, played 130 games, administered more than 30,000 COVID-19 tests, 0 positive cases amongst players. 0 positive cases amongst coaches, 0 amongst staff. Just a handful among hotel, arena, and restaurant employees. 30,000 COVID tests, 2 bubbles, nothing. Some other things that I really wanted to point out. Again, I'm not big on the hockey, but I thought this was amazing. Scott Van Pelt last night did an interview with the Lightning coach, John Cooper. He was wearing a Virginia hat. Scott Van Pelt noticed that, and he said, University of Virginia hat, and said, hey, does that have any significance? Kind of like how Virginia won the title after their big upset, because Tampa Bay got swept in the first round last year. And Cooper admitted it, yes. He said, I acquired the hat right after we lost some 400 days ago. He said, I don't know Virginia. I don't know Tony Bennett, but they've been something to hang hope on this whole time. Some other crazy things about this coach that I didn't know anything about until I started reading about him, and I adore this man, John Cooper. He played lacrosse in college. He worked on Wall Street before becoming a lawyer. At the age of 32, he started coaching high school hockey as a favor to a judge. 2 decades later, he's a Stanley Cup champion. That gives us, at any age, hope to try to something new. I mean, he just asked a favor. He said, hey, I need someone to coach this high school hockey team. He's like, I'll do it. And he just found something he's good at. At 32 years old, it's fantastic. He went on to say a couple other things, like he talked about playing in the bubble. He said, I missed my anniversary. I missed birthdays. I missed the opening day of school. The whole baseball season took place during that time in the bubble. The 24 teams that were here, he said, they went on to say they will tell you this was the toughest one to win. So congratulations to Tampa Bay Lightning. Congratulations to Coach John Cooper. So, we've got, like I said, the Monday night game. That's good. We have no idea what's going to happen now with the Tennessee Titans, supposedly with their 8 positive cases. And, geez, Notre Dame, my goodness. 25 now cases of COVID. They've got, 18 in isolation, 11 more in quarantine. But they have no idea what's going to happen with the Tennessee game. Tennessee's got to play the Steelers. They're both undefeated. And they got to play the game. There's no real room either way. Minnesota doesn't know what they're doing. They're waiting for all the tests to come back as fast as they can. But like I said, we've got a guest in studio. Things did get moved a little bit. We do have to take a phone call in between. But before we go to break, Tyson, say hi to everybody.
What's going on, everybody?
Tyson Blazer's in here. You guys know him, friend of the show. Quad City area athlete, played baseball at the University of Iowa, played professional baseball, and he's also a coach amongst budding MLB superstars that will hopefully someday play in the Major League Baseball playoffs, which start today. So thank you very much for coming in, my friend. I appreciate you.
For sure.
Unfortunately, this is the time when I was supposed to take a call from Jake from Elite Sportsbook, but he has to move it back. So if you can hold tight with me while I do a quick commercial break, when we come back, we'll give him a call. You can talk to him with us a little bit about some gambling, and then you and I will talk sports, baseball, all kinds of fun stuff. But thanks again for tuning in to ESPN 1170 AM. You're listening to Don't Hassle So Local. We'll be right back in just a few minutes.
Woo! Give me a hell yeah! I said give me a hell yeah!
This is WQAD's Matt Randazzo, and you're listening to Don't Hassle Us, We're Local.
Which stage of life are you in?
I'm shopping for a new house and can't believe I'm a grown-up stage.
How on earth do people afford college stage?
Or
I never have to think about work again stage.
No matter which stage of life you're in, First Midwest Bank has the knowledge and experience to help you. Visit firstmidwest.com/everystage. You have plans, we have ideas. First Midwest Bank, momentum for life. Member FDIC, equal housing lender.
In the Army National Guard, family means everything.
They really appreciate what she's done as a sister as well as a soldier and, supporting their country.
Our parents, they were really supportive that all 5 of us would join.
Family members that are soldiers in the Army National Guard inspire and influence, setting a path for others.
It's validating knowing that, I kind of did my part to make sure this is what they actually wanted and that they feel the same way I do. I'm really proud that we get to help shape the future, and I know that my sisters are going to be amazing soldiers.
Serving part-time in the Army National Guard instills pride that you and your family will share in.
A lot of pride, and they're just out there doing something every day and then serving their country as well.
I got my education because of the Guard. I got to travel a little bit and experience a whole different culture.
Visit NationalGuard.com to learn more about part-time service. Sponsored by the Iowa Army National Guard. Aired by the Iowa Broadcasters Association and this station.
Tonight, the game show that swept the globe returns to do it again. Jane Lynch hosts the all-new Weakest Link.
Hey, it's Jane Lynch. I am so excited to host the Weakest Link on NBC. I can't wait to say, you are the weakest link, but parting is such sweet sorrow. Kidding, it's still goodbye. If I wanted to remind people that I'm a classically trained actor, I'd find a way to mention it organically.
Jane Lynch hosts the return of The Weakest Link, premiering tonight on NBC.
You are the weakest link. Goodbye.
I'm running with Axel the giant woolly Alaskan Malamute on our way to the Midwest Animal Assisted Therapy and Education Organization Community Outreach Center at North Park Mall. You have people waiting there for you that are having difficulty with the way life has changed as a result of COVID-19 and the storms that have hit the Quad Cities. You're going to introduce some new animal friends that are going to help at the Community Outreach Center at North Park Mall. Let me open the door for you. Hello, everyone. Axel's very happy to see all of you and is looking forward to helping everyone relax, reset, and recover. And now he'd like to introduce our newest animal friends to help everyone today. Introduce yourself. Amazing. These are your friends, the Tigers in a Tank, and they're here to help everyone relax, reset, and recover from the effects of COVID-19 and any of the other emotions that are interfering with daily life. I'll tell him. Axel and his animal friends are looking forward to seeing each and every one of you this weekend at the Community Outreach Center at North Park Mall. Go to COVID19ESA.org and follow them on Facebook. Tell them the Tigers sent you.
All the sports you need, all in one place. Get them all right here on the Quad Cities Sports Leader, ESPN 1170.
Welcome back to Don't Hassle for Local here on ESPN 1170 AM. Just a mere 46 minutes away from first pitch of the Major League Baseball postseason. I didn't know if we were going to get here. They didn't know we were going to get here. It's a different type of postseason. I love it. I'm excited, Tyson. I tell you what. What do you think? First things first, let's talk about the new format of playoffs.
Rules out the window. It's a crazy, crazy year, so I'm for it. all for it. So
I understand the whole thing about that because we're in the situation, no travel, 3 games. So like if you are the higher seed, you host all 3. Are you fine with that?
yeah, 100%. You know, because at the end of the day, you want to get to the World Series, and very much like the NBA, you have really no excuses why, you know, a team didn't win it, right? Because they were down some players, because, you know, they traveled and somebody got it on the plane. Get there, everybody test negative. Let's play the games, and I don't care. There's really no fans in the stands. There's gonna be a few. I was talking to one of my buddies. Some of their immediate family get to go, but it's not gonna. The home field advantage will just be because you're at home and you're comfortable at home, and you know how to go about your daily schedule at home. That's gonna be the only advantage you have.
And you don't think? I mean, I haven't studied the Astros roster of possible rookies or anything like that, but they're Major League Baseball players. They kind of understand the dimensions of Target Field. The fact that they haven't played there all year long because they stuck in the AL West or the NL West, I don't think that's a big gripe, because everyone's got to do it. And you know what? If it's a gripe, then win your games.
Yeah.
Don't be the first team in Major League Baseball history to make it to the postseason with a losing record.
Right.
Or don't be the team that got caught cheating and all your offensive numbers went down really, really bad.
Real fast. Like
Really
that's
bad.
probably the best thing could have happened this year, though. That was great.
Bregman, Altuve, Correa all had down years. Their offensive production's in the bottom half of the league. It's nuts. But congratulations to Dusty Baker. He's now taken 4 teams to the postseason, and I think that's a record now. So I don't know what to much think of it. Greinke's going to throw today for the Astros. Kenta Maeda is going to throw for the Twins. I actually do like the Twins to win this in 2.
Yeah, no, hey, I'm with you. I love the shirt today, by the way. I was giving him a hard.
I know.
I gave you a hard time.
I didn't. When you texted me on the way and said, lucky they're not playing the Yankees, I was like, all right, do I write back, I hate you? So then he just turns his car around, so I just held it to myself to be talking to you.
Yeah, no, to be honest with you, I got to win too. I'm not a huge Astros fan, but they have been down. They've been too inconsistent. I like Minnesota's offense. I don't know how you couldn't like their offense. I think that the pitching is going to hold enough to beat the Astros. I think it's going to be a problem in round 2 when they face off against the A's, I'm pretty sure. I got the A's winning too.
I actually have the Sox winning that.
Do you?
Yeah.
What do you like about the Sox?
Offensive production. Even though they led the league in home runs, but they also led it in strikeouts as well. But I mean, you look at Tim Anderson hitting as well. Louis Roberts, and then
Abreu.
Yeah, Abreu, who's it could be up there for anything. Like I just have the Sox, and I guess it's also one of those things that I had the Sox doing well going into the season, and as far as like the Sox go, they've had 2020 circled for a while, right? So this is supposed to be a year, I guess.
You think they got the arms to do it? I don't like. No. You know, they got some decent names thrown out there, but I don't like. I don't trust the arms. And then again with the offense, I've seen it now for the last few years with the Yankees. It's boom or bust, right? And so like the Yankees have an unbelievable offense, but you've seen it just disappear. And we were talking off air, it disappeared for a couple weeks there, where it just went away before they rattle off 6 straight games of 6 homers or whatever it was. It's a tough way to win in the postseason. Is just hoping that we're going to get that big hit against quality arm and, ride it out. So that's why I like the A's. I think they're just a better team in general.
I think the White Sox have, going back to yesterday, and I can pull it up, but the White Sox have a pretty good road record as well. That's what I liked about it. The A's, the only reason they got the 2 seeds is because they played better in their division. It was a tiebreaker, and it's a weak division.
Yeah, but what do you know about the A's? They're out west. Nobody watches the A's. If you're gonna stay up, you're gonna watch the Dodgers, right? Yeah. So no, or the Padres, because that's the sexy pick right now.
This is what I've been saying. This is why I like this format so much better. Putting in 16 teams is because one, like you said, and we've been joking about this from week 2 of the season. Everybody's second favorite team right now is the Padres for some reason. They look good. They went back to the brown and yellow. It is a good looking uniform, and
it is. I'll give you that.
And I am excited because some of these games, a 9-10-year-old will be able to watch some of these teams that they're not used to seeing. Like Cardinal fans are gonna have it on, but there might be a kid who's family's a Cardinal fan, 9, 10 years old, sees the Padres, and he's like, "Yeah, it's a pretty good looking team. They're fun."
Right.
Like a Tatis Jr. I like that. I like the idea of we're exposing young baseball fans to more.
Well, and we give them more options to watch with the extended playoffs. You've got games going all day, and I have a hard time staying up for some of those late games too, and let alone my kids. So it's cool that they'll be able to see some playoff games early in the day.
We're going to talk more about that. We got to put a pin on it. I'm going to call Jake from Elite Sportsbook and just talk to him a little bit about how the risk management team just wipes that off the board real quick when everyone goes down with COVID. So, because I tried to look up, I'm like, oh, should we bet the Steelers? And I'm like, no, never mind.
I didn't pay attention. They just wiped it off, huh?
It's just, you can't take a bet. So, he's not going to know. He's going to be like, I'll have to talk to risk management. He's been in meetings all morning. He's not going to.
Well, that's if he answers.
Yeah, I know. It's boom or bust here, isn't it? Yeah, maybe he just told me to stick it. I don't know.
This is Jake.
Jake!
There he is.
How you doing?
Good. Sorry about that.
Hey, it happens. It's all right. We'll still squeeze you in, though, my friend. What were you doing in meetings, whatever else? Because you have to figure out what to do with the NFL games if they don't play 2 of them, and how to honor those bets?
Exactly. Yep. And just coming up preparing for the MLB playoffs, kind of getting our promotions all set for that, and NBA finals. So we got a lot of fun stuff in the works. Should be releasing information on that tomorrow, actually.
What, for the NBA finals?
NBA finals and MLB playoffs.
Well, the playoffs start today. You guys better release it. I mean, you got 38 minutes till first pitch. You guys better release something real soon.
Well, it'll be tomorrow afternoon. But don't worry, you'll still be able to qualify all throughout the playoffs.
I know what you're doing. You're just gonna make like Cub and Cardinal bets. You're gonna go for the people that live around here and be like, "Oh, it's just for those guys because we know who's gonna bet." No one wants to bet on the Twins. I know what's going on. I know it is.
No, I keep you in mind for all the promotions, Jason. Don't worry.
I appreciate that. I do. Let me trying to take a look here at the Twins. Twins are minus 165 today against the Astros, meaning you put up 165 to win 100. White Sox are favored minus 130. Giolito's favored on the road. Wow. Let's see. At 4 o'clock, Blake Snell is favored for the Rays against the Blue Jays at minus 200. That's a heavy favorite. Yeah, the Yankees in Cleveland is a toss-up. And by the way, while I've got you here, that's a great game to, stay away from betting. But I know you don't want to hear that, Jake, but they're both minus 110, and it's Garrett Cole versus Bieber, former the $300+ million man versus the shoe-in to win the Cy Young this year. But no doubt. That's great that you guys are coming up with all kinds of things for the year. I see you got some game props as well here for the Major League Baseball, Jake. And
yep.
And you said the NBA is going to be up tomorrow for all kinds of props and to win the series because that tips off tomorrow night at 7, I believe.
Yeah, that'll be a good series here. I know I've got my predictions in mind here, but I've been playing a lot of NBA bets lately.
So just a reminder of everybody, you guys already have all the game lines up for the Iowa football season.
Yes, yep. So we've got our Iowa season-long progressive parlay going on again this year. So if you go to the site and go to the NCAA men's football tab there, you'll see Iowa progressive parlay as one of the options. So you'll be able to bet the Iowa progressive parlay all season long. You got to place at least 4 legs of the wager to qualify. And if you got 4 legs, you can lose 1 bet. You can still win your parlay. So the pay scale is a little different. So if you're curious about that, head to the website and go to the promotions tab. Okay. And go down to progressive parlay. You can check out the whole pay chart. But if you go up to all 8 games, and you can lose actually 2 legs and still win.
Oh, I like that. Yeah, because we went over these lines with Tom Kaker from the Hawkeye Report last week and which games we liked and which ones we didn't. I see the Purdue line has changed a little bit since last week.
Yes, yeah. It's interesting to see the lines right to the end of the season now already and how they're going to change throughout the season.
What else you got going on, my man?
All kinds of fun stuff. We've actually decided to extend our new sign-up promotion through the end of October. So if you haven't signed up yet, a lot of action coming up. Head down to Rhythm City Casino, go to the Resort Club, get a card there, and then go online and activate your account. You'll get your first bet risk-free up to $500.
Wow. That's great. I'm glad you guys extended that because I'm sure you guys have had a lot of luck getting new people sign up. And I know last week when you were in here, we got to talk about when you do a parlay. Not only was the progressive parlay, but you also have the opportunity that if you do a parlay and you're starting to get a little nervous the last couple legs of what's going through, maybe you got a little overzealous, you salt and peppered the recipe too much, that you can also cash out a little bit early instead of having to sweat through it, right?
Exactly. If your 19 parlays coming down to Ravens versus Chiefs and you have the Ravens and you got cold feet, you can cash out and take your wins and run.
Well, I tell you what, if it was going to be me, I would have taken. I did take the Chiefs last night, but I would have taken also, if I would have bet the over under, I would have taken the over, but it would have just hit because it was 54. So it would have been a push. But no, I encourage everybody to go to the site and just navigate it for yourself and learn some things. And there's also, there's always an information button if you have a question or anything. And if not, if you can always go to Rhythm City Casino and talk to the people at the kiosk. They're very friendly and they always help. They answer all your questions and they know all the answers. They're really good out there. And I enjoy the people out there, Jake.
Exactly. And hit us up on social media with any feedback. We'd love to hear feedback on ways we can improve or different bets you'd like to see, things like that. So, we are human beings on the other side of this, and we're here to help. We enjoy being in the local market.
Yeah, tell everybody where they can follow you at.
At Elite Sportsbook, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter.
All right. Well, Jake, sorry to make it short, but I always appreciate being able to talk to you.
No, yeah, I'm excited to see you later.
Awesome. All right, buddy. I'll see you this afternoon.
With more ideas. Yep, take care.
Take care. Bye. All right, that's Jake from Elite Sportsbook. Go to EliteSportsbook.com. Like you said, you can sign up for an account and do that. All right, so the American League's 4 Wildcard Series start today at 1. Zach Greinke versus Kenta Maeda. We already talked about that. We talked about how we both like the Twins to win this. The odds are the Twins are the favorite to win this at -120. Sox at Athletics. Tyson likes the Athletics. I like the Sox. Blue Jays at the Rays tonight. You want to talk about a team that I know nothing about. Outside of that, I know like some of their stars are the guys that came over from the Chris Archer trade. I don't know very much about Tampa Bay.
They're good, man. And the reason they're good is their pitching is outstanding.
Yeah.
And so, to be honest, if they weren't on the same side as the Yankees, I'm a little biased there. They're my pick. They'd be my pick to get all the way to the World Series this year. They're going to dispose of the Blue Jays. The Blue Jays are young and fun, and those guys love playing ball. They got some legacies on that team, Vlad Guerrero Jr. and Bichette.
Biggio.
Yeah, Biggio.
Look at those names.
Yeah, right. How about those names? And so they're fun, and it's fun to watch those guys, but they're not going to be able to compete with Tampa Bay. What do they got? I got it written down here. The Jays are going. Tampa Bay's going Snell, Glasnow, and Morton. Those are three good guys. Those guys can win you any 5-game series, any 7-game series, and obviously a 3-game series. So I think that it starts and ends there for Tampa Bay, and they're very well coached, and they play, it's funny to say this, but fundamental baseball at the major league level, it doesn't always happen that way. So they're a really, really good team.
And I made the joke yesterday, they don't care if they're not playing in front of fans because they rarely have them anyway, so they're used to it.
I love going to Tampa Bay games because there's no one there. It's air conditioned. I just kick my feet back. It's fantastic.
And then the Yankees at the Indians, that's going to be at 6 o'clock tonight on ESPN. Like I said, Shane Bieber, who's the runaway for the Cy Young this year, and against Garrett Cole, which if you like pitching, this is the one to circle.
Yeah, it seems to be that way. So you watch tonight and it'll be like 10-8 or something like that.
Yeah,
just go completely unconventional. But yeah, if you should watch this game if you're a baseball lover. If you're not, you may be a little bit bored because there's going to be some really, really good pitching. There's not going to be a whole lot of offense till late in the game, I don't think. Though I go with the Yankees here. One of my good buddies I played with at University of Iowa is in the dugout. He's one of the hitting coaches for the Indians by the name of Justin Toole. So we played together at Iowa. So I was talking to him a little bit last night, giving him a hard time. But so I got a vested interest on the Indian side too. But I'd love to see the Yankees because anytime your organization wins a title, it'll be good. But I think it's going to be a tough series. I think it goes 3, and I think hopefully, we run out somebody in that third game. I'd like to see the young guy, Garcia, for us in the third game that we had brought up a little bit later in the year. Was hot. So I'd love to see him in game 3 and take it.
I can't think of 2 franchises that I want to see lose equally as hard right now. I don't know. I have no problem with Cleveland. I do, but it's a dumb story, and I don't know why it was this way. But when I lived up in the Twin Cities, for some reason, now I understand the Yankees or Boston or whatever else, the typical fans would come out to watch the game, but there would be a lot of Cleveland fans, and I never understood it.
That's weird.
Yeah, so it just drove me nuts. So, and obviously they're in the El Centro, and then the Yankees. All right, so a week ago, I'm listening to the Twins game on my driveway, and it reminds me of when I had you on a year ago before the playoffs, and the announcers are like, okay, they need to win. At that point, they're like, be the 4 seed, because it'd be nice to host the Yankees. Because that's where they were at the time, right? That's a week ago. That's how fast the season changed.
It changed
and Sunday
real
was
quick.
great. I mean, White Sox went from a 2nd to a 7, a 2 seed to 7. Yeah. So they're debating this, and these are professionals that know the Twins, and they're like, but does it really matter? I mean, these kids, they don't really know they don't care about the history. And I'm like, yeah, I remember Rocco saying that last year too, and I remember saying that to you, being like, they don't care, and I'm like, no, I care, and they should care. And within 90 seconds, they were like, you know what? No, we got to get the 4, because if we're playing them, we're playing at home. And I was like, thank you for acting like this wasn't a big deal, because it is a big deal. And if they win today, like it snaps a 16-game losing streak in the postseason. Yeah. But and it was just crazy that they were just talking that way. And I'm like, and then Sunday morning, I think even on. It goes all the way back to like Friday. I'm texting Rosso, who was WHBF, and now he's on Texas, but he's a Twins fan, and he's like, "Chances for the Yankees?" And I'm like, "I think they're locked at a 5, and we win the division. We're fine. Or they could stumble." I said, "I don't think it's any good." And then Sunday morning, he sends me a text, and it's like, gives me the scenario of how we have to face the Twins. I say the Twins have to face the Yankees, and I'm like, can you say good morning before you do this?
Yeah.
So then I have to search everything, and I have this flow chart that I was following of every situation to get to the Twins, who are they going to play, and the Yankees are still there, and I'm like, no, this is not. Like, I couldn't handle this for 2 days talking about this if it was going to be Yankees. I mean, I'm happy. I'm happy where they're at. They're on the other side of the bracket, and the only way to see them is in the AL Championship.
I know we live in a world of analytics and numbers on baseball, and you can't quantify, what people feel. And so though you can say, it's not a big deal, we can play the Yankees, that was last year's team, it's part of that culture over there. And it's a hard thing to shake. I mean, you're always going to hear about it if you had to play the Yankees. And so I think it's best that they didn't, because they would have lost.
I mean, everything you're saying is right. First question, the pre-series, Rocco's going to get.
Yeah.
Yankees.
Well,
what about the losing streak to the Yankees? We don't care about it. Yeah, you do.
Yeah, you do.
Don't Belichick this right now. You're not Belichick. Like, I'm happy about it. Now, I think it's going to be just like you said. The Yankee sticks have to come alive. What they have, they started off 26-14.
Mm-hmm.
No, they were 26 and if you take the first and third parts of the year, the beginning 26-14, in the middle they had that stretch of going 7-13.
Yeah.
20 game stretch.
They were under 500 at one point, right?
Yeah. So, and then you got the National League. Tomorrow is the day for me. That's it. Like, all day long, baseball. I love it. I love the expanded playoffs. I'm glad that Manfred said, hey, this is here to stay. Get used to it. The owners wanted it anyway, and never let a good crisis go to waste is what Bomber taught me, and I think this is one of those things that a lot of sports are like, we're just going to implement these ideas, and if they work, they work. If they don't, they don't. Now, this is one that works.
Yeah, I mean, I can get on board with the extended playoffs. I can. I'm not a huge fan in an extended season because I think you do end up having some teams that aren't very good that are going to get in. You're going to have, even in a full season, maybe not a team that's under 500, but you're going to have someone just hovering right around there that's going to get in, like the Astros this year. So,
and the Brewers.
So I'm not a huge fan of that, but this I can get behind. Some of the other things that they've thrown out there, the extra inning rules, some of the pitching rules, I'm not necessarily in favor of. So
I'm not with. I'm agreeing with that international tiebreaker thing. It's confusing for everybody. And when it happened to the Twins on Sunday against the Reds, same thing. I was like, what? Oh, I was like, oh God.
Yeah, we do it in the minor leagues. We had done it. We'd implemented a couple years ago. And so we do it in the minor leagues. And minor leagues, I'm okay with it because the last thing I want to do is sit through like a 15, 16, 17, 18-inning game, and we're sending a kid up from rookie ball to come up and pitch a couple innings in AAA in the bullpen because, well, we just don't have any arms left. And they're so cautious about arms at that level anyways, making sure we're not overusing guys. In the big leagues, it's not a thing. Like, you got some guys on your 40-man roster. If you get a long 18-inning game, you're going to have to bring a couple guys up, send a couple guys down. It's part of the business. So I think there's no place for it in Major League Baseball.
The only thing that I take exception for on Wednesday, the lineup, is some of the games. I think the Cubs at 1 o'clock in the afternoon is a bad decision by the Mickey Mouse Company. They'll be on ABC at 1. I think you could have put him at 3 instead of Toronto and Tampa Bay. I like the Cardinals at 4 o'clock, and I understand the Brewers and Dodgers at 9. So basically the lineup goes like this. And Atlanta could have been later too. I mean, because you've got, talking about 9 or 10-year-olds that see something when Atlanta puts that run together in the 90s. There's a lot of kids that became Brave fans because they were still on TBS. Yeah,
was for a while.
And they see them winning, and it makes sense. And they still are Brave. They're still Brave fans. They start at 11. Then it goes to Twins in Houston. I completely understand that. I'm not going to complain about that one bit. I understand where that is and why. But the Braves probably can move back. The Cubs, I don't, because you're going to have eyes from Arizona all the way down to the Panhandle of Florida and deeper, because that's the way it is for Cub fans.
I would argue, too, it gives Chicago an advantage. I know it's the playoffs. You got to get ready to play, but they played more day games, than the majority of your other teams. And so putting them at 1 for them is fine. I know what you're saying, trying to get viewers and everything like that.
Yeah.
So there's some history in that series, too. When's the last time, right?
I'm so happy you said it.
Yeah.
There's some history.
Yeah, I was one of my buddies is the catching coach for the Marlins, and we were giving each other a hard time. Being growing up a Cubs fan, I just said, I hope this guy doesn't show up, and I sent a gif of Bartman, and he was like, I hope he does.
And that would be if there was a time that a home and away series, that would be good if the Marlins put a cutout of him in there.
Yeah,
I mean, that's fun and games. And
the Cubs should make fun of themselves and put a cutout down the left field line.
They should, just to have fun, and it adds to, the fun of it, and it gives the announcers something to talk about when a lot of times they don't have a lot to talk about. White Sox at 2 o'clock against the A's on Wednesday. I can understand that.
Yeah. Put them at 11. I don't want any part of seeing that.
I just don't understand Toronto and Tampa Bay at 3. And it's on TBS. It might be an American League only thing with TBS, but I doubt that because ABC's got American League today and tomorrow. National League tomorrow.
Unless they're playing up the Rays lineup of sons of major leaguers, and maybe that the starting pitching of the Rays. But you're right. There's nothing really sexy about tuning into that game.
Yeah, Cardinals in San Diego at 4. Basically, that makes it a 2 o'clock game in San Diego. It's an interesting part about the Cardinals because they do have the postseason mystique, the history.
They do.
And then, like you said, San Diego, everybody just loves them. And then you have, of course, I understand New York at Cleveland at 6 and Milwaukee at Dodgers. You have to do that. That'll be 9 o'clock. This was brought up to me last night, and I'm going to ask you the same question because after this, they go to the bubble.
Yes.
And
technically, they're in the bubble now.
Yeah, but then they all go into locations that'll stay there until for their divisional series and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts on going forward? One location that travels to different areas, basically better climates for the World Series, neutral. Like it would always, like in 2021, Tampa Bay will host it.
Similar like
Super Bowl. Yeah.
Right? I don't like it.
Okay.
I don't like it one bit. I love turning on a Yankees game in October and getting chills and watching, the guys breathing. You can see their breath, and guys running out onto the field for, announcements, and you got the banners hanging in the upper deck, and you've got the mystique of Yankee tradition in the air, and these guys, the fans just going absolutely nuts. I love that. You're not going to get that if you're going to have a bunch of rich guys that can afford that ticket to go down there, and that happens anyways at home. But there's just, I love the idea of home field advantage. I love the idea of the advantage you get from a home crowd coming up in the bottom of the ninth and people just going nuts, standing, not sitting down since the 7th inning. I love that. I think you lose that if you go to more of a neutral site for the World Series.
Yeah, it was brought up because the person said, like, I just don't want to see people in stocking caps or whatever else playing baseball type of thing. And I understand that, but 7 games it's hard to do, to keep it in one location. And the owners are going to be like, you're out of your mind.
Right.
But if you want to take a look at kind of like what you said, home field advantage and everything, if you want to take a look at how archaic and how hard it is to convince Major League Baseball to change, it is insane to me that for years we just had every other year you get home field advantage based on odd or even year.
Yeah.
And then it's even worse that it was like if you win the All-Star game.
That was terrible.
And when the whole time it's like, well, winning record, you should be awarded. And they're like, no. Odd years, American League gets it.
Yeah.
Even years, National League. That's just the way it is, guys. Like,
right.
And then, then the dumb 2002, I believe. Yeah. All-Star game.
I go back to the cost of, being a Cubs fan in 2016 when I was out of baseball at the time. I got to go up to a couple of the games leading up to the run for the Cubs, World Series. My brother kicked me to the curb and took his wife. So I looked into, all right, maybe let's road trip out, or let's get out and go to Cleveland and look at Game 7 tickets, Game 6. It was just astronomical how high those prices were. Now you add in a plane ticket for people probably in the Midwest because it's going to be down south somewhere out west. The price is just, it's going to take a common fan like myself. Like, we couldn't afford that. So I think you just lose some of that.
I still feel like, even though it'll be down in Arlington at Globe Life Park, that when the Twins are in the World Series, I will go up to the Twin Cities to watch Game 1.
There you go. There you go.
That'll be a lot of fun for me.
Well, they're going down to Texas too, so they can have some fans. I mean, it's the truth. More fans in the stands because they said they're gonna probably allow that down, and Texas governor is fine with that. And whether you believe in it or don't believe in it, that's the way it's gonna happen. So they're gonna get some more, money, putting butts in the seat.
I think also the Rangers built this park.
Oh, it's amazing.
It's beautiful on the inside. Looks like a Costco on the outside.
Isn't that weird?
But But they're like, we built this park and we can't have everyone come. And they're like, yeah. And I think Manfred's like, we're going to let you guys have it. Just host it. And they're like, thanks. We appreciate that. We'll throw you something. Before we go to break, got a question from Easer Ace for you.
Okay.
Evan Longoria said that Joey Bart needed Buster Posey around this year and was hurt by him not being there to help him. He asked you, do catchers need a mentor to succeed in the big leagues?
I don't want to say you have to have a mentor, but I think, a guy that's going to be there that can take you through, especially the postseason. You're gonna fumble your way through the regular season, but if you go and look at postseason and being able to, and it may not be the World Series run, it may be the year before that team clicks. They've got, a younger catcher. They got an older guy that kind of shows them the way. But, yeah, it's absolutely huge. People don't realize, like, Buster Posey plays on the West Coast. He's one of the best catchers of all time. Go back through. Offensive numbers, defensive numbers, guy threw well. He's getting older now, and he opted out this year for personal reasons. But, yeah, I think that it hurt the Giants in general. And they were close to making the playoffs, and you get a guy like Buster Posey in there and teaches some of the young guys that they've got coming, I think would be huge for them. And I think it would have been huge for their pitching staff just this year. So then, Posey comes back next year. Maybe he does, maybe doesn't. I don't know. I would assume he would. But then Bart's going to be there, and he's going to benefit off that. So, yeah, I think it helps, but I don't think you have to have that.
Yeah. The Giants were there, stumbling in there. They were down to last day. I actually saw that game as well. And I know Easer A's made a comment. And before, again, another question, I'll just piggyback onto that and what he made a comment because I watched that Giants game and the catcher made two, I would say, really bad frames to get strike 2 and strike 3. Kapler, the manager, took exception to him, but the season's over and it doesn't matter much. Robo umpires, are they needed? No. You say no.
No, you got to know I'm biased too, but the way I look at it, you're going to change the game of baseball as a whole. It messes with the competitive advantage. All right, so if I have a better catcher than you and I've got a better relationship with this umpire and I can get him to give me a few calls, I'm giving my team a competitive advantage. Okay. I also think that if you end up going to a automated zone, it's going to take a few years for that to kind of get locked in, but I think guys are going to realize how big the zone is, north and south. So you're going to end up having pitchers throw at the top of the zone. When guys are throwing at the top of the zone at 98 miles an hour, it's really, really hard to get to. So now guys are going to have to change their swings to get to that. They're going to realize how big the zone is right now, because right now it's a square. Mm-hmm. In all actuality, it's more of an oval of what the umpire actually calls. It's more of an oval. If they keep it with a square, I don't see how you can, because you're going to be from top right to top left, and it's going to go from, letters to, middle of the knee. It's going to be an absolutely huge zone, and you're going to have pitchers that are just trying to tick the zone. So I think you see walks go up. I think you see strikeouts go up. I think you see now guys trying to adjust on the other side of that, and things are going to completely change. They were going to have a rule in the minor leagues this year that you had to disengage the rubber to throw to first base. So there's no jump turns from a righty. There's no hang, read, and throw over by a lefty. You'd have to completely step off the the mound.
Yeah.
And they're doing that because of automated zones. They're doing that because with guys throwing the ball home and they can hold, we're throwing home. These guys aren't getting very good jumps at first base, and so they're trying to add that back in. But if you do that, you're going to see numbers go through the roof, and it's a precursor to the automated zone, which I think is coming. I don't want it to come. I think it's going to happen because those guys are going to have to stay down, receive the baseball. That guy's getting big jumps at first base. Now it doesn't even matter what we're doing because guys are also, catchers-wise, are going to be completely set up in different positions to throw guys out. They're going to be sideways. If the ball goes inside and they don't want to catch it, they don't have to catch it if there's someone on base. If there's someone on base, they're going to be preset in a throwing position, maybe completely sideways. So it's going to make it easier to throw guys out, so they're combating that by putting this rule in. So I'm glad it didn't happen this year because it gives it another year before we may have to see it at the big league level.
I'm with you. I'm not for it. I never have been. And I just think I see Easer A's reasoning. I like it a lot better than people getting upset because they don't like Joe West. That's not a reason.
No.
For every time Joe West gets all excited and he makes a highlight film, he's called 17 great games.
Well, can I throw it back on you? And so instead of letting umpires off the hook and giving them the automated zone and, hey, we're just going to buzz you when it's a ball or buzz you when it's a strike, however it goes. Why are we not holding the major league umpires more accountable? Why is there not ramifications for these guys? I know they're union and that plays into it, but if you have more opportunity for these guys to be reprimanded or not living up to a baseline of what they need, then they can be sent down, just like players can go up and down. If you make it more accountable for umpires, all of a sudden you're going to see those guys get better because there's more on the line. So why let them off the hook?
So what I'm guessing you're saying then is if you are using an automated and you look at it, you use the numbers, not an approval rating, not the manager saying like, I like this guy, I don't, whatever else, but you're looking at it and be like, we want you to be at a consistent 96.8% accurate, according to what we have here on this graph. Mm-hmm. Or else then you get a warning, and then after that, we're just going to send you down.
For sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't see why not. I know that's their careers, but baseball players, it's their careers too. If they don't perform, see ya. They're going to be sent down. So maybe there's more steps before you just send that guy out. But I think if you hold Major League Baseball umpires more accountable behind the plate, I think it gets better.
You're the man. I love it. I have 100 questions for you, but we got to go to break.
Go to break.
Yeah, we got to go to break. We'll be right back on ESPN1170am.com.
Woo! Give me a hell yeah! I said give me a hell yeah!
This is Matt Koss of the Quad City Times, and you are listening to Don't Hassle Us, We're Local.
Introducing First Midwest Bank's newest branch, your home. With our online banking and mobile app, it's easier than ever to make a deposit from the dining room, pay bills from the patio, or get alerts in the loft. The convenience of First Midwest Bank, right from your own home. Visit firstmidwest.com/convenient to get started today. First Midwest Bank, momentum for life. Member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Train presents The Unstoppables. Those captains of comfort who let nothing overcome their profound profession. Those gargantuans of the guarantee. Those comfort kings with a tireless tenacity for total turnaround. The Train Comfort Specialists. Just one more reason why it's hard to stop a train.
Precision Air, the masters of comfort and efficiency. For the best in heating and AC, call today. Precision Air will be right there.
Checkers and the Brantley Francis Foundation are teaming up in the fight against pediatric cancer. Stop by any QC Checkers and get an ice cream cone. Strawberry, vanilla, or swirl. Every ice cream cone Checkers sells in September, 50 cents will be donated to the Brantley Francis Foundation. If you live in or near the Quad Cities, there's a Checkers location near you. Again, stop by Checkers for an ice cream cone, and 50 cents of each cone sold goes to fight pediatric cancer. Cones for Cancer, all September long.
Tonight, the game show that swept the globe returns to do it again. Jane Lynch hosts the all-new Weakest Link.
Hey, it's Jane Lynch. I am so excited to host the Weakest Link on NBC. I can't wait to say, you are the weakest link, but parting is such sweet sorrow. Kidding, it's still goodbye. If I wanted to remind people that I'm a classically trained actor, I'd find a way to mention it organically.
Jane Lynch hosts the return of The Weakest Link, premiering tonight on NBC.
You are the weakest link. Goodbye.
Never miss a thing with our app. Listen live from anywhere in the world and be notified when news breaks. From the Quad City sports leader, ESPN 1170 AM.
You're listening to Don't Hassle Us Local here on ESPN 1170 AM. Tyson Blazer in the studio with me. We're talking baseball. And Tyson just brought up a very, very good point. And maybe someone out there in the Harrington's Pub Facebook comment thread can let me know, and it's something I will be looking up later on. Why the Cardinals were not forced to play their 2 games against the Detroit Tigers on Monday is beyond me. Because they ended the season with the same winning percentage as the Cincinnati Reds, and based on their play within their division, they became the 5 seed. The Reds turned into the 6 seed. 6 seed.
6?
No. 7. They turned into the 7. The Marlins, on the other hand, yeah. So the Marlins, so it goes, they all had, okay, so the Marlins and Reds have the same record, all right?
Mm-hmm.
So at that point, the Cardinals would have turned into the 7. The Marlins would have turned into the 5, and the Reds would have gone to the 6.
Mm-hmm.
If they lose both games. If they win one and lose what they split, it's still 5-17. It stays the same.
Yeah. But if they lost both.
They have to. Yeah, they should have had to play. That is a big. That's a big flip.
And I know some of the arguments will then pitching wouldn't have been, ready for the Cardinals. Well, I don't know why we're catering to that.
Talk to Paul DeJong before he goes to a casino in Milwaukee about it. Then how's that?
Bingo.
Yeah, not like, hey, their pitching's not ready. It's not fair to the Cardinals.
And this is not an anti-Cardinal rant.
It's not an anti-Cardinal. This is a numbers thing.
This is a number thing, and I'm sorry that they had got COVID, but if at the end of the year, if those games matter, I think you have to play them. We're talking seeding, and you know what? Since he could, make a run, and it may not matter at all, but they also couldn't. And who's to say that if they didn't get a better seed, that the outcome's different? Don't know.
I there's got to be a reason for that, and I want to take a look at it.
I know Manfred said that they weren't going to have to make up games if it didn't matter, and I guess his point is they were in the playoffs, so it didn't matter.
Yeah, Easer is saying MLB said they wouldn't play games for seeding, only for who got in. No, I don't care. I mean, if I were the Reds, I would say it's a big deal. If I were the Marlins, I'd say it's a big deal. And
I mean, I could be wrong, but if I'm the Reds, I probably would have rather played. Well, I don't know. Probably the Cubs. I'm not big on the Cubs. I'm a Cubs fan, but I don't know if their starting pitching is not very good, and their offense is atrocious. And Cincy's pitching is pretty good. I like that matchup better for them than going to Atlanta and then having to face Freeman and Acuna. Like those guys are studs. So to me, I think it is a big difference.
Well, I mean, if the commissioner's just saying, "Hey, this is it. You got to deal with it," then you got to deal with it. I guess that's the thing that
yeah,
that sucks about it. I got a question for you about when you've got some lag time in baseball when you're growing up or in the minors or when you're playing for the University of Iowa, because sometimes when we're at tournaments, when I'm coaching these 11U girls, there's some downtime, and I don't like them just on their phones doing TikToks or whatever else. Make sure they eat some fruit and then whatever. So we used to, back in the day when we were at tournaments, we used to play, if you had the space to do it, golf, where you just take your bat and a ball and you say, there's the hole and it's about a par 4 and let's go from there. You have a driver and you putt. So I got to teach them golf. A lot of them didn't understand it. And it went from just 3 of us to about the time we had two sets of 5s. So we had a lot of girls. What else do you guys do? Have you done to just ease the time?
Well, I mean, growing up, we didn't have the whole cell phone thing, so we played baseball. So in between games, we're playing baseball.
That's what I said. I go, well, we could play wiffle ball.
That's what we did. We are kids, you've got so much energy, and so I understand that. Hey, maybe sit down, relax, eat some fruit, and I go the opposite direction. Let them run around, do what the heck they want, and if they don't play well, hopefully they'll learn better and they won't do it the next time. But yeah, no, in between downtimes, we played baseball.
That's what my next step after that, because I was going to be like, all right, I'm going to introduce him to Pepper, but we're going to do it the easy way, take a wiffle ball and a bat, and then try to watch them into their hands or whatever else. But I'm just trying to come up with other things to do besides them staring at their phones and giggling and doing TikTok dances, because it drives me nuts, even though I'm pretty good at TikTok.
Why haven't I seen you on TikTok video?
I don't know. I got one in the works. Nothing too fun.
Maybe because I don't have a TikTok.
Yeah, I think I've done 6 TikToks. That's about it, though. So, tomorrow at your house, is it going to be baseball from first pitch to the end?
On my phone, yeah, for sure.
On your phone?
Yeah, because I've got lessons, so I'll be lessons for a while tomorrow. I think 5 straight hours. So I will be got it on the radio, giving lessons and listening. But yeah, that'll be it. I'll be watching games tonight for sure. Tonight's my off night.
Does this open up your lesson window because of the schooling quite a bit?
Yeah, 100%. It's actually been super nice, because usually we'd have to start at, a lot of times earliest maybe at 3:30, but mostly 4, and I'd go 4 to 9. And right now I'm going roughly 2 to 7, and I can get home and help with bedtime and still be around. So that's been awesome.
I've told the story before, and I get so geeked about these games all day long. This is my favorite parenting moment. Was I want to say 2013 playoffs? Yeah, that's about right. 2014, either way, it doesn't matter. 2013. Playoff baseball all day long. I've got my son, who's just been walking for a while now. Not too long. Yeah, I think he's got a good 7 months in him.
Okay.
And I didn't want to miss any of the baseball. this is, I mean, it's my favorite moment. It's not a good one, but my son also really enjoyed potato chips. So, and as I'm on a couch watching baseball, watching my son, hanging out with him, but every time he would wander away to go do something he's not supposed to do, I'd shake the chips and he'd come back and I'd give him one. And it's my favorite thing. Every time I think about just watching baseball all day long, playoff baseball, that is, I just think about that moment. And I was like, it's not like I did it ever again. It's just the one time where I'm like, just don't go anywhere.
Oh, that's awesome.
And then he comes back. Gets sour cream and onion chip.
You're winning. You're winning the parenting at that point. Yeah, no, at night we go with the, hey, it's daddy shows time at night.
Mm-hmm.
And so we'll throw on sports. And so we got to watch the Michael Jordan thing, but then we were watching, we were watching LeBron close it out the other night. And I was explaining to him about LeBron and just, being the best for however many years now and Michael Jordan. And I had told him how good Michael Jordan was. And now he's like, is Michael Jordan playing? He's all about Michael Jordan. And I said, well, no, this is like the second Michael Jordan. He's like the second best. And so now he's like, well, is Michael Jordan going to be in the playoffs? And is he going to win the championship? I was like, no, but I think LeBron will. And so it's awesome to be able to share those moments of my childhood of watching Michael Jordan and then getting out for him to watch LeBron, whether you like the guy or not. You can't argue how great he is.
And then you can tell your son, well, if you're on social media, there's a lot of people that tell you Michael Jordan's winning the title somehow this year.
Yeah, I know.
Which is always a fun thing to read again and again and again. But yeah, the NBA Finals start tomorrow night. Heat versus Lakers. You have the Pat Riley, former Laker, is at the Heat type of thing. It's crazy how many times like the Lakers have been in the finals. They've got Jimmy Butler and LeBron have a good history there. So it's going to be a good series. If you take the hockey fan who doesn't follow a lot and they say, but I watch the finals, that would be me on the NBA and I watch the finals. Mm-hmm. I think every year I do the same thing. I'm like, I'm going to watch 50% of the NBA games as I can. As many as I can. Right. And I watch like day one and I'm like, okay. I'll wait till the finals, and I never picked the team that gets to go in the finals. And I was a Bulls fan growing up just because it was at the right time.
It was easy.
Yeah, I saw the slam dunk competition when I was 11, and I'm like, this is great. Yes. And then the Jordans came out, and I'm like, this is the coolest thing ever. Sure. And then then they won the title in '91, and it was great. And then you just kind of go, okay.
Yeah, I watched more basketball this year than I had in the past years. I don't know why, to be honest with you, because it wasn't that enjoyable to watch them in the bubble. But I have a theory anyways that without that, we're talking about home field advantage, so home court advantage, because they're down in this bubble and there's no fans, they're pumping in noise. Like, I just don't think that the pressure is as great as it would be if it's game 6 and you're on the road and you have the ball and you got to make that shot. Now it's game 6, you're in a bubble, you're facing guys, and you could, hear the coach screaming from the other end of the court.
Yeah.
So I don't think the pressure is as great as that, and I also think that's why some of these teams that the Heat are a great team. They're a great team. I to be honest, you can hold it to me six games.
It's an excellent point. It's an excellent point. Tyler Hero wouldn't be so lights out if he's playing in Boston.
I don't think he would. Yeah. I could be
Bam
wrong.
Adebayo wouldn't be as crazy. Here's something for you. John Calipari, for as long as he's coached, he's had numerous first-round draft picks and numerous first-round overall. He's never coached an NBA championship. This year, a former player was an NBA champion. This year, it's going to happen. Either Bam's going to win one or Anthony Davis is going to win one.
Yeah, it could be Davis.
So that's a weird stat for him to have. But I think it's crazy from where we are, and it sounds weird. This is the first time I felt normal about sports since they came back. I always just felt like we are always like waiting for the other shoe to drop. Like, is it really going to happen? But now with postseason, NBA going on, week 4, and stupid Tennessee Titans, and they have to have that, and Notre Dame, like, that's not what I want to have when I turn on the sports the first thing today. Like, that's not what today should be about. It's MLB playoffs, and then, but that's what ESPN's going to put on. But this is the first time where I'm like, all right, I'm relatively geeked. Like, week 1 of the NFL, I was like, oh, they're kicking off in 5 minutes. I should be paying attention. Have I set a lineup? I don't even know if I set my NFL, my fantasy. Yeah. And then obviously with the postponement of Big Ten and that whole flip flop, I was like, whatever.
Yeah.
Have the season or don't at this point. Like, So this is the first time that I can tell you that I've been really geeked about sports this week. So
I've been overwhelmed. I'm not gonna lie. They're trying to keep it all straight. We had Stanley Cup last night. And Tampa Bay wins, and I guess an adopted Tampa Bay fan because when you're down there, they're crazy about their hockey. So I'm down there all the time for spring training, and guys, and through the season, guys love going to the games. So they won. You got NBA, you got MLB, you got NFL, you got NCAA. It's all happening, and it's like, I don't know what to watch, man. I want to watch it all, and I can't.
But I didn't on Saturday because of coaching softball. It's, again, one of those things like a lot of times when you're coaching in the fall, you're looking at your phone seeing updates of scores. I didn't care about the SEC games. I didn't care about the ACC. I'm like, I'll wait till the 24th till I actually care about anything. So I didn't feel like I missed out on anything.
You didn't care about Mississippi State, guy?
I love everything about that.
Air raid.
600 yards passing.
Unbelievable.
That's Mike Leach's 11th game coaching, 600 yards.
That guy is awesome.
The rest of FBS have 9 combined.
Mike Leach is awesome.
We have a person on the show, Emily Van Buskirk. She covers college football. She's got the best Mike Leach stories.
Yeah.
Just like splitting a bottle of Tito's with him and letting him talk.
I would love that. I would love to just be a fly on the wall and just listen to that guy. Just
He's absolutely great.
Yeah.
All right, I'm pretty sure you got to get out of here because you have things at 2.
I can hang a little bit. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, just stick around for a little bit. We're gonna in just a few minutes. We got to take a break. But so, how can people still sign up for what you're doing? For the lessons?
Yeah. So
tell them where they can go.
I'm getting fairly filled up. I jumped ship. I'm back across the river on the Illinois side for my lessons at Fielder's Choice.
You can do that.
I can do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know if their rules are get down on. Don't let you.
Well, I hope I'm not getting in trouble. I think I can.
No,
do that.
It's not a mass thing gathering. I guess so. Yeah, you can do that. Yeah.
Well, for all intents and purposes, I do. I actually wear a mask through all my lessons. I feel like I owe it to the people coming in because of all the kids that end up coming in. So.
That's an absolute crime. A good-looking face like that covered up by a mask. That is a crime.
Thank you.
Crime.
No, but get on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram. I've been trying to step up my Instagram page lately. I guess that's what the kids do nowadays more than the Twitter.
TikTok. You got to get your TikTok game going.
I guess I need to. But at Backstop Sports, go check us out. Even if you're not necessarily interested in doing lessons, I have a lot of catching content on there. You guys can get on. I post a lot of videos of drills and stuff that I do. So if you're a young guy and you want to find a drill, or if you're a dad looking for some drills, get on there, check it out. And if you need some clarifications, DM me and we can chat. It's what I'm doing right now. I enjoy doing it. So yeah, check out at Backstop Sports. Get a hold of me and maybe we can hook up. So.
But you're doing what, all ages, all the way from?
Yeah, I got kids from 8 to college kids, so and everything in between. I usually do 1 or 2 kids at a time, not too many more than that. I'm running a high school group of catchers right now. That's a lot of fun. I think it's around 8-9 kids. So we only do it for an hour and keep them spaced out. But that's a lot of fun. They're getting better. And part of the coaching part that I like is when they start to understand it and then they start to teach it. So, we've got 3 or 4 drills going on and I turn over and one kid's got his hand on the other kid's head and telling him, hey, keep your head still. And I look over here and the other guy's telling him, hey, let's get the glove down like this. And it's really cool. So when you get things rolling like that, to be able to see them and know that they're getting it, because I think that reason why teachers are teachers and they stay on top of things is because they teach it, right? So like I'm an expert in catching because I teach catching daily and I stay up on it. And so like when these kids are starting to teach the concepts themselves, I think it's a good way to learn it themselves too. Yeah. And so when they can do that, to me, I'm like, all right, I'm doing my job. They're getting better. They're going to be able to take this back. They're going to be able to take it to their high school or their middle school or whatever they're going, and they're going to be able to pass this on. And I think for me, that's the best part about what I do.
That's a great point, because what they're doing is they're seeing and listening to what you're doing. Not only are they applying it to their game, but they're applying it to passing it on. And by taking those words, it's also a thing that they're using to be like, yes, this works. So now I'm going to show you how it works. And it's also giving them affirmation that they're doing the right thing.
Yeah.
And that's why I say to our team, be it 11 or whatever, just watch a game. Like, just watch and ask questions and see what someone else does and find a player. We were in a 3-way tie for first place because it was round robin, and it depended on run differential. So it turned into a math lesson. Why do we want this team to score more? But I was like, find a player on there that plays maybe your position and watch what she does. And even watch what she does wrong. Find something that she does wrong, but find 3 things they do right and put it into your game.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that works all the time, but that's what I wanted them to do. And it was fun to talk ball instead of, like I said, there were some girls that are on their phone, they're just sitting around for it, but I got to talk ball and talk about run differential and why it's important that we score those runs in the game.
Yeah, I love that. And then they can take what they see and they ask questions. Because when you ask questions, then you start to talk the game, and it facilitates a lot of different things. So ask questions.
Absolutely. All right, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back on ESPN 1170 AM. Don't hassle us. We're local.
This is Merrick Brave from SCW Pro, and you are listening to Don't Hassle Us. We're local.
From lines of credit in Chicagoland to equipment finance loans in the Quad Cities to better cash flow in Milwaukee, First Midwest Bank is committed to using our local knowledge and ideas to help our clients get their business momentum back. Visit wehaveideas.firstmidwest.com. You have plans, we have ideas. First Midwest Bank, member FDIC.
Escúchame, it is Dan Levitar Show on ESPN Radio.
Dominique Foxworth, based on Cody's Tuesday appearance, has texted me the following. And this is an actual exchange that just happened, not only on my text, but wait till I tell you what happened when I read it to Chris Cody, his son. The text from Dominique Foxworth is, I hate Greg Cody. Wait. He expects more respect with no work. And he doesn't understand that he's not interesting, and you all make fun of him in order to make him fit for your radio show. His qualifications are being your friend. He is the epitome of privilege. I read that to Chris Cody during the break. Chris Cody said, Dominique has sent that to me too.
Word for word.
The Dan Levitard Show, 9 till 11 on the Quad City Sports Leader, ESPN 1170.
When you own a business, every precious second of your life is spent focusing on how to make it successful and profitable. You spend so much time worrying about making things right, the last thing you need to worry about is when things go wrong. That's where we come in.
Jorgensen Insurance, our worldwide resources allow us to give your business the most comprehensive and cost-effective commercial insurance plan anywhere. Online at jorgenseninsurance.com. Now, get back to work.
The biggest names in sports, coming to your mornings.
Bill Belichick, the 6-time Super Bowl champion, is here.
Morning, Coach Bill B.
Great to hear your voice. Congratulations on the show here, and I know you're going to provide a lot of great insight for the fans and even the people in the league. Nobody knows what's going on more than you do.
Keyshawn, J. Will, and Zubin. Mornings on the Quad City Sports Leader, ESPN 1170.
Car old? Need it sold? Get rid of that old car and do a good deed at the same time. It's the Arrowhead Ranch Annual Auto Auction coming soon to Coal Valley. That's right, it's back. Donate your car, truck, SUV, or motorcycle, and if you live within 40 miles of Coal Valley, they will even pick it up, even if it doesn't run. All donations are tax deductible. Call 309-799-7044 or visit them online at arrowheadyouth.org. Car old? Need it sold? Arrowhead Ranch Annual Auto Auction. Stay tuned for an auction date in Coal Valley.
Battles aren't won solely on the field. That's a common misconception. Battles are won within, over enemies of fear, enemies of doubt. In that place where promises are kept. Promises to oneself.
This is a physical training event.
Promises to one's community.
Helping people move debris out of their house.
Promises to one's country. In the heart of every Marine, you'll find a promise. A promise forever kept. A promise of battles won.
My part-time service in the Army National Guard makes it possible for me to be more for the community I call home. I'm a better neighbor because my service has taught me how important it is to be a team player. My training helps me in my classes when I give attention to detail to the task at hand. My service also allows me to be there for my community in ways others can't. I help my hometown recover after nature strikes. My service in the Army National Guard allows me to keep my country and those I care about safe from threats. I also work with a network of professionals that help me succeed. Also, the Army National Guard's education benefits make getting a higher education a reality. Being an Army National Guard soldier makes living and serving in my community more rewarding every day. Learn more about how you too can live and serve part-time close to home by visiting NationalGuard.com.
Sponsored by the Iowa Army National Guard. Aired by the Iowa Broadcasters Association and this station.
He's a fan just like you.
The place that I put the line of separation between Michael Jordan and LeBron James is as follows. You can't put one definitively ahead of the other as far as their greatness.
He's back on your radio. Greeny.
If there was one basketball game being played and my life depended on the outcome, Michael Jordan would be my definitive first pick. Everyone who ever played against him or with him would also make Michael their first pick.
Greeny. Weekdays at 11 on the Quad City Sports Leader, ESPN 1170.
Tonight, the game show that swept the globe returns to do it again. Jane Lynch hosts the all-new Weakest Link.
Hey, it's Jane Lynch. I am so excited to host The Weakest Link on NBC. I can't wait to say, you are the weakest link, but parting is such sweet sorrow. Kidding, it's still goodbye. If I wanted to remind people that I'm a classically trained actor, I'd find a way to mention it organically.
Jane Lynch hosts the return of The Weakest Link, premiering tonight on NBC.
You are the weakest link. Goodbye.
From the Sheedy Family Chiropractic Studios, this is the Quad City Sports Leader, ESPN 1170 AM, KBOB Davenport.
Welcome back to Don't Hassle So Local here on ESPN 1170 AM. Kyle Reimers is joining us in studio. Tyson's here with us too as well. We're going to make a quick phone call. We're going to call Ryan Lieber from the Friendly Confines podcast. Just give us a little background of what they're seeing for the game, for the series this week against the Marlins, and kind of tell us why CBS thinks that CBS Sports and Marlins are going to win the series. I think it's a little nuts, but then again.
You can't tell those young guys that they're not any good. They don't know any better.
Yeah.
They don't know any better.
Hello.
Hey, Ryan, it's Jay. Don't Hassle So Local. In studio with me is Kyle and Tyson. How are you?
I'm good. Good to talk to you guys. How are things?
They're going well. We're excited. We're just a few pitches already into game one of the Twins versus the Astros. Astros somehow have cheated their way to second base, but there's 2 outs, so we're fine.
Well, the good news for you is hopefully the Twins can do right by you and win a series for the first time in the postseason since, man, how long has it been since the Twins won a playoff series? It's been quite some time, I feel like.
Yeah, it's 16 straight losses in the postseason.
What happens if they lose again?
Yeah.
They lose. What you mean? If they lose today or they lose
like
the series?
The series. What happens? I mean, other than they go home and they don't play anymore. But what happens?
We just blame the Astros. We say the Astros cheated. That's what we do. I don't know. Poor Rocco. I have no idea. Ryan, we got the series with the Cubs and the Marlins coming up. CBS Sports is predicting the Marlins to win this series. I don't really see it, but like Tyson said, and we talked to Chad last week. He was a little bit. It's funny because he said he was a little down on Bryant, and Bryant had a monster weekend. Tell me about this series.
Yeah, well, first of all, I think you just need to have Chad on more often to disparage any of the players so they just come back and have amazing weekends like Bryant did. Listen, as someone who actually does live in South Florida and ironically does a Cubs podcast, it is kind of, interesting to see that the Cubs and the Marlins are hooking up, of course, for the first time since 2003. So I'm curious what the over-under is and how many times we'll see the Bartman incident during the series. But nonetheless, the Miami Marlins are a team that they have a lot of young, very, just great pitching from a team that nobody really knows who these guys are. They're not household names right now, but they will be. I'm pretty confident that these are pitchers and players, for that matter, that you're going to hear about in the next few seasons. I think Derek Jeter has done a really good job of revamping this roster, and I think the Cubs are definitely, in my opinion, still the favorite to win the series.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? Make no mistake. I mean, the Marlins, I think, are going to be a team that could give the Cubs some fits, especially with the young pitching that the Marlins present. So I'm expecting this to go the full 3 games. I do think, though, the Cubs will win this one and win 2 out of 3, but it's definitely going to be a struggle because here's the other part of it. Neither team has played each other this year, right? So the Cubs don't know what to expect from some of these players, and nor do the Marlins, but at the same time, I think this could certainly be a very difficult series for the Cubs.
Tyson brought this up. If you're the Chicago Cubs, why not just put a cutout of Bartman in the seat down the third base side and have fun with it? I mean, just really,
I don't have a
really
problem
think
with
about that. It would be all over social media. It makes it relevant. It's a no-brainer idea, Tyson, really.
And you won in 2016, so, that curse is kind of gone. It's just part of your history. Embrace it, throw them down there, have some fun with it. I think it's a no-brainer as well.
What if I took it a step further? What if the Cubs invited Bartman? See, I've said this. I've been saying this for a long time. I don't know why. Invite Bartman to the game. He'll be the only person there, and you can have him throw out the first pitch, so it's not like people are going to razz him or whatever they may do. Maybe they'd even give him a standing ovation at this point, which he should get one. Have him throw out the first pitch, and then just put him in the seat. Just have him sit there. I don't know if that's maybe the best idea. Maybe you bring him to the game and have him sit somewhere else. But, I mean, inviting him to the game, I think, would be a really cool move by the Cubs and certainly would put everything to bed finally. I don't know what the story is behind that because Steve Bartman, as we know, has declined all and any offers for interviews. So there might have been a scenario where the Cubs may have tried to invite him and he has turned it down. I don't know if that's the case. But if you're going to do it in a way where you're not going to have the fans there. There's going to be basically no media there. So why not go that route and try to bring him in, throw the first pitch, and then allow him to leave without doing interviews, and he can kind of do his thing.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea, and it's just one of those things like it will go viral because they're going to show these highlights over and over again anyway, like consistently. So, like you said, own it. So you do think they get by this in three games, right? Is what you said?
I do. I think the Cubs are, at least they played well against the White Sox. I mean, again, this is a team that at times they look like they're ready to contend again, and then other times I sit here and I wonder, who is this baseball team that I'm watching? Right. I do think the advantage of them playing at home, I certainly think Darvish and Hendricks, obviously 1 and 2, is going to be very difficult to go up against. And then you got Lester in that third game, who, John obviously has been up and down this season, but I certainly feel like at home, in Wrigley Field, in the postseason, he's always been a gamer when it comes to that. So I do believe that the Cubs will win out, but that's not to say that this isn't a Marlins team that I think is going to, have some moments. They play well on the road. They got some guys that, again, you may not have ever heard of before, but they, can put some runs on the board too. Miguel Rojas is a guy who I think is very solid for the Marlins. They got Brian Anderson, who plays third base for them, who I think is a, very solid player. Jesus Aguilar, who is a veteran player, obviously, has some years under his belt and provides that locker room presence. So, they got some guys who, again, I think could potentially cause some fits for the Cubs, but I do overall think the Cubbies are going to, eventually handle this series and move on.
You going to take the day off tomorrow?
Am I going to take a day off
to watch
tomorrow
the game.
to watch the game?
Watch the games.
I wish I could.
No.
I wish I could. I have a very important meeting, but the beauty is I can probably try to watch it on my computer, and maybe I can sneak in a few innings while I'm at work. Good thing this isn't airing in Florida where my boss is here.
Well, yeah.
Speak freely, of course, at this point.
Ryan, tell everybody about the podcast.
Sure. So the name of the podcast, of course, is the Friendly Confines Podcast, and we are a Chicago Cubs-based podcast. Chad and myself are both Illinois natives. I grew up in the Chicagoland area. Chad grew up in Champaign. We are both Southern Illinois University graduates, so we are diehard Cubs fans at the core. And each week we bring on, as you know, Jay, a special guest to talk Cubs baseball. And this week, I don't know if you had the chance to see, Jay, we are so pumped.
Yeah.
We got George Will of the Washington Post. Of course, anybody who is a diehard Cubs fan knows that Mr. Will is also a huge Cubs fan. He wrote a book called A Nice Little Place on the North Side, which I recently bought and is a great read. And, of course, it's not like we have a presidential debate going on tonight or anything. The fact that he takes time for two losers like us was pretty unbelievable. I even told him that and said, I can't believe this, knowing what is about to happen in the next few weeks and even right now. So I did appreciate that he took the time to join us, and he was so amazing and really had some great insight. And, of course, he's so knowledgeable and so intelligent. Chad and I wanted to at least sound somewhat smart, so we definitely had to do some major research on this one to come off somewhat credible when we did the interview with him. So definitely be sure to check that out this week.
Absolutely, and we'll make sure to keep pumping it. I don't want to take too much more of your time, but I appreciate you taking time out of your schedule just to talk about the series that's upcoming, and we'll be in touch with you or Chad real soon to talk some more baseball.
Jay, anytime, man. Always great to catch up. We appreciate it. Go Cubs, and hopefully we'll be able to talk more next week when the Cubs move on in their next series in the NLDS.
Gotcha. Thanks, my man. Take care.
Okay.
All right, that's Ryan from Friendly Confines Podcast. They have some amazing guests on there, the guys that they have. And Ryan's really good about reaching out to people. And, it's one of those things, Tyson, we kind of talked about before. The worst they can do is just say no. And the more people say yes, I mean, they've had Andre Dawson up to like legends that are, in their 60s, 70s to guys that, that are no longer playing, that, that have been drafted in the past, like Jerome Walton, Dwight Smith. Like, they just have great guests on there. And the George Will one is incredible to have. I mean, he's a tremendous writer. And Kyle, let's catch up with you real quick. Your Chiefs had a big win last night.
Yeah, that was a big one. It was nice. Nice seeing the Chiefs pull out against Lamar Jackson.
Were you ever nervous at all?
A little bit going into it.
Really? I did. I thought the Chiefs were fine the entire time. But I wanted it to be. I wanted it to be like. I wanted it to be closer. At the end, I wanted the Ravens to score. But when they went up by 14, I was like, then never mind. But I wanted the Ravens to get in there. But the defense of the Chiefs just wouldn't let Lamar Jackson do anything.
Which is good because finally the Chiefs showed up. They didn't show up against the Chargers.
Yeah.
They didn't even show up the first half.
I'm getting tired of looking at Reed's face shield, though.
What?
It's not fogged up like it usually was.
That means there's got to be like holes in it or whatever else. He's cheating something or whatever else, and he needs to be fined too. This is hard to do with the game on the screen. This is a bad idea by me, and also talking the radio. I made a face while we were talking to Ryan, and really it was me, like Mean Mug and Carlos Correa. And I know he's goofing around with Bucks when he stole second, but I don't like Correa goofing around with my guys. So even though I really like Carlos Correa a lot, I used to, before he found out he's a cheater. But no, baseball just started, and it's the bottom of the first. Twins now have first and second with one out. Kyle, what else have you been up to?
Just working, and daughter is 5, going to kindergarten, so kind of doing the dad stuff and enjoying that.
Yours, how old?
Mine just turned 5, and I've got one turning 3 on Saturday.
So, but not in kindergarten.
No,
I can't imagine sending a kid to kindergarten right now in this.
It's actually not bad. At North Scott, they do a really good job with the protocols, and all the kids have to wear face masks and all day.
Yeah,
carry their water bottles.
I get that, but there's a routine, and that's not the routine what school is.
That's not at all.
You're like, oh, this isn't normal, and they're like, this is all I know. What do you mean it's not normal?
Yeah. Well, my kid goes 5 days a week down the street, and they come do the temperature scan and does the hand wash, and they go in and they do everything. But he didn't know any better, right? So it's kind of just, I guess, the new normal for him. We'll see moving forward.
Well, we've talked about this, and Kyle, you know about it as well. This whole thing is, I'm sorry, it is confusing because with traveling sports on my end, you will get an email ahead of time, and it will be like, here's the procedures, and do not go away from them or else something's going to happen. And 10 times out of 10, they're not applied. Yeah. It's and I'm like, what? I was all worried, and they were like, no. They're like, oh yeah, it's just kind of in writing. They just kind of say underneath their breath.
It's kind of like the bubble right now. The bubble that the Major League Baseball players are put in. Right, they go to the hotel and they got to stay there, and they can go get food from 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., but not after and not before. And you have to go straight to the ballpark. You can walk, you can bike, you can't Uber. They have all these protocols in place. But you and I could go up to wherever and stay in the same hotel. And then they're riding down elevators with random people. So, like, I think it's more of a show. And now when they leave those and they go down, we talked about that, I would assume that's going to be more of an actual bubble. But this is just to get, I guess, media off their back because it's not a true bubble. No, and that's the thing. In as much as the bubble thing is being a term, the Disney World one is not a bubble because those people who are in catering and all the other things that are on those locations in Disney, they're unionized. And they right away were like, no, you're not bringing in people, and we're not staying here. We have homes to go to. So that bubble is constantly being popped. And I know it doesn't take a 5-year-old or 3-year-old to.
No.
They know better. They know that once you do that to a bubble, it's going to pop. It's not a true bubble. So, but that being said, right before you came in, the NFL better look into something for their postseason, and they better look into it real hard because the NHL proved that it works.
Yeah.
Big time.
In the biggest way. I mean, that was 31,000 tests. 0 came back positive.
Awesome.
There's just, right now, with Notre Dame, that one's crazy, and we'll see what really happens with the Big Ten and how that goes forward. And it is just as confusing for me, for you. It doesn't matter. You can't really, anyone that tries to explain it really can't explain it. And I always say, like, the first thing about a lesson plan when you're going to create one for your students is you better be able to answer the question, why do we need to know this? Because if you don't, especially in the high school level, you lost the lesson because the kid's going to go, you stuttered. I don't need to know it. and as soon as you give something stupid a response, where you say, like, well, it hits this benchmark of this standard based on by the Board of Educational Examiners, and a teenager's going to go, that's dumb. I don't care what that means either. And that's exactly what happens when we say, like, why are we doing this? And then someone goes, well, the CDC said this, and this is phase series 1, and you're like, that's dumb. I don't want, and that's why there's all this pushback. It's not a matter of this thing where, oh, I was at the store and someone looked at me cross-eyed because I had a mask, or vice versa. That's not it. Who knows? Like, I don't even know. They tell me that I had it and I had the antibodies, or that I'm not going to get it for 90 days. Yeah. Do I still have to wear a mask? Like, I don't know. I'm not passing anything on.
No.
And what do I do? Like, tell someone if they look me up and down if I'm at Hy-Vee and go, no, I had it.
Look at me. I'm good. I'm good. I'm good.
So it's all confusing. And
you take the confusion out of it, at least not for us in the public, because it's always going to be confusing until it's not. But to your point about the NFL, you take the confusion out of it. You set something up like the NHL did, like the NBA did. So when you get to the playoffs, that there is no confusion. We're going to this. I don't care what your beliefs are. We're going to go to the bubble. You guys we're going to be safe. We're going to get to the end of the playoffs, crown an NFL champion, so that there's nothing outside of that can say, hey, it's not legitimate, right? So I'm with you. They need to come up with something, some kind of protocols of what they're going to do toward the end into the playoffs.
And it's just like what we're talking about with baseball and Globe Life. Highlight Las Vegas. Highlight SoFi. Beautiful. They're gorgeous.
Unbelievable.
So that way you can continue to get the press about it, and people get excited when they can go back to those things. Yeah. Pick sites like that. Say, here's what's going to happen. I mean, they're already expanded, and just say that's predetermined, and you guys are going to come in and stay here in this bubble or whatever. Yeah. It's
Texas, California, Las Vegas.
You just can't do anything. You just have to.
You have to.
And if they're sitting on their thumbs right now going like, well, that's weird. We didn't see that one coming after Tennessee, then they're out of their minds.
Right.
And again, your second thing, and so I guess it's a teaching lesson about being a teacher. The second thing is anticipate the problem. And that's what you need to do right now in the situation.
Solution.
Yes, you have to anticipate it and be like, well, if this is a problem, we're going to do it. We're going to handle it this way. And right now, it just seems like they're like, well, you're shut down till Saturday, and we're not going to release information on it. Because the Steelers don't know. Mm-hmm. Flat out, the Steelers like, oh, yeah, they told us to just keep doing everything like we're going to have a game.
And that's a big game.
Yeah,
both teams are undefeated. Yeah, that's going to be crazy.
And the Steelers are not in an easy conference. So it's not like you can be like, well, like the Cardinals. Well, just don't play it, and we'll let everything play out.
Yeah.
No, if you're Mike Tomlin,
you gotta let it play out.
Wrong. Again, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, we'll just go by seeding. That whole thing, and I guess I don't know how I overlooked that, but Izrael said that the MLB said, oh, we just care about seeding. We don't care about. We care about who gets in, not seeding. No.
Well, you can do that in baseball. There's so many games. I know there were still 60 games at least this year, but if you go in the NFL, it was 16 weeks. So every week is
crucial.
Huge. It's paramount.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't think you can do that. I don't think you can just push to the end and say, we'll just see how things play out, because those games mean so much.
The Big Ten has zero room for error.
Yep.
In their schedule, like none. They decided to I had it all figured out where I was like, they could do a bubble as well. I don't understand why that was hard to where I had them going and everything else. Purdue has already suspended 18 players for going to a party, off-campus party.
Yikes.
So, and by the way, that's also Purdue, which was one of the reasons where some teams were apprehensive because they're one of the schools that doesn't have a medical facility on campus. So all these things that are like, oh, the testing
I heard about that.
is up to this, and we're, it's changed from before. It really, a lot of it was like, not everybody's up to date on how testing is and all these campuses. So they're just going to have to keep, looking what these guys are doing and then coming up with it. The NFL, like you said, you guys, there's not every game matters. And if you're the Steelers, you're like, no. We're in a division with the Ravens, and we're 3-0, and we want to win the division. We don't want to. And it's the first place team that gets the bye.
Mm-hmm.
And other that, you have to play, but you don't really want to see it doesn't matter. You don't want to see where that ends because you don't want it to be the 4 seed and then have to play a team that got by because of you didn't play a game because of whatever the Tennessee Titans, whatever happened.
Right.
Probably they got it from Paul DeJong. That's what I'm just going to blame everything. You want to ask when it doesn't happen?
That's awesome.
Rope. Uh-oh.
Oh, man. There we go.
Jay pulled an uh-oh.
That's what I'm going to do if the Twins don't win. I'm just going to blame it all on Paul DeJong and just be like, that's his problem. So
got to capitalize here. Bases loaded, 2 outs.
Now he roped it.
He did. He hit it
He
well.
did.
He did. He hit it well. So
100.4 miles per hour. All right, we're going to take our second break of the hour here at Don't Hassle Us. When we come back, I'm going to give you the 10 clues you can get in to win $1,000 from our cash giveaway. This is ESPN 1170 AM.
Julian Vandervelde, and you are listening to Don't Hassle Us, We're Local.
From lines of credit in Chicagoland to equipment finance loans in the Quad Cities to better cash flow in Milwaukee, First Midwest Bank is committed to using our local knowledge and ideas to help our clients get their business momentum back. Visit wehaveideas.firstmidwest.com. You have plans, we have ideas. First Midwest Bank, member FDIC.
When booking your next tee time, hitting a bucket of balls, or looking for a quick bite to eat, make Palmer Hills Golf Course and Grill in Bettendorf your first choice. 18 rolling hills that challenge the beginner up to the avid player, like the newly designed and challenging Hole 13. Visit Palmer Hills' fully stocked pro shop for clubs, clothing, or anything golf. After your round, relax in the Palmer Hills Grill, featuring daily lunch specials. Make your reservation today at Palmer Hills Golf Course. Visit PalmerHillsGolf.com or download the free Palmer Hills app. Tee it up today.
Escúchame, it is Dan Le Batallón, ESPN Radio.
Seattle's NHL team, we're getting a hockey team?
Yeah.
Wow. Which will make its debut in the 2021-22 season, has announced that its nickname will be the Kraken. Pretty good, man. Is there anything wrong with that, by the way? The Kraken? Like 5 years from now, they're going to regret that. We're good. I mean,
I don't think this.
Did the Kraken have anything in its past that is questionable?
I mean, well, tons of murder of shipman, but
that's okay, right? As long as it wasn't, it wasn't Aunt Jemima
I'm
related.
guessing in this day and age, they probably did their research, right?
I think it's offensive and indelicate for sailors. And
the Kraken just killed. Wasn't a slave owner or anything, right?
I mean, it's a horrible sea monster, but it's also mythical, we think.
All right.
The Dan Levitard Show, 9 till 11 on the Quad City Sports Leader, ESPN 1170.
This is the Dan Levitard Show on ESPN Radio.
Man, I hear language in the movies from 10 years ago that I'm like, ooh, that wouldn't fly today. Those words would absolutely not fly in any...
I know I've gone from rags to riches. Dutch is the opening of one of the greatest films of all time. Every single time Goodfellas is on.
Wait a minute.
I was
How
watching
the
my
hell?
Flyers last night. So watching Goodfellas. Henry Hill, baby.
How the hell
I'm
did back, he
baby,
get...
I'm back.
Everything's breaking and you're back. I don't understand what's happening. How did he crack our system? Is it because of Bob and that miner's helmet?
Zubin is on the morning show, and I am back on the Levitard Show. All that is old is new once again. I'm back, baby. Goodfellas. How about
Please, get him out of here. You can't get him out of here fast enough.
The Dan Levitard Show, 9 till 11 on the Quad City Sports Leader, ESPN 1170.
Tonight, the game show that swept the globe returns to do it again. Jane Lynch hosts the all-new Weakest Link.
Hey, it's Jane Lynch. I am so excited to host The Weakest Link on NBC. I can't wait to say, you are the weakest link, but parting is such sweet sorrow. Kidding, it's still goodbye. If I wanted to remind people that I'm a classically trained actor, I'd find a way to mention it organically.
Jane Lynch hosts the return of The Weakest Link, premiering tonight on NBC.
You are the weakest link. Goodbye.
It's the last gasp of the car show season. It's the Iron Invasion, October 9th and 10th at the Mississippi Valley Fairgrounds in Davenport. Live bands on stage, plus dirt drag racing, motorcycles, swap meet, camping, and even a classic pinup contest. This is an open-air event held rain or shine. Proceeds go to Helping Hannah's Heart Foundation and benefits kids with congenital heart defects. More details at ironinvasion.com. October 9th and 10th. Be there.
Matthew.
Huh? Oh, sorry.
It's okay. I just need you to listen to me.
I know that a lot of times, Mom, it might not seem like I'm listening to you, but I am. I hear you. And what you say really does matter to me.
I mean, let's be honest. No kid likes rules, but I get why we have them. I hear you, and I know it's because you care.
All the talks we've had over the years, including what you've told me about not using alcohol and other drugs, they stick with me. And believe it or not, they really do make a difference, especially at times that matter most.
Hey, want a drink?
No thanks, I'm good. So thank you, Dad, for talking and preparing me for what's ahead.
Thanks, Mom, for never giving up and always being my biggest fan.
Thank you for letting me know what you expect, so I can try to meet your expectations.
Thank you for talking.
For more information about talking with your kids about underage use of alcohol and other drugs, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
Baseball is back. This is your home for Major League Baseball. This is the Quad City Sports Leader, ESPN 1170.
We are back. Don't Hassle Us for Local here on ESPN 1170 AM. Thank everybody for tuning in. And for those of you listening on the radio or listening on the app, we've got, I got to look this up now. I should have had this up when we were all talking. I'm too busy talking with you. If you go to ESPN1170am.com or download the app, you can go to a spot that says Win Cash. And we give out codes daily. Every time you enter in a code word, it gives you another chance to enter $1,000, the grand, and it also puts you in for the grand prize of $10,000. So you go to the ESPN 1170 AM app, where it says Win Cash at the very bottom as you're scrolling through the rules. I mean, I can pull up my app right now because it's on the I put it on the phone there. The app, when you go to it, pull it up, and it'll say it's halfway down. It'll say Win Cash. And you hit that button, and it basically says, given 10 chances each day to win $1,000, and they're paying it out twice daily from Town Square Media. There's a grand prize of $10,000. The more codes you enter, the more chances you win. As you scroll down, it'll say, enter your winning words now. Click the red button that says enter your code words here. If you haven't downloaded this, go ahead and do it. But for right now, get a pen and paper, write down the code words. Here's your first one for today, Tuesday the 29th. Bubbles. Bubbles. We talked a lot about bubbles today. NHL had a bubble. NBA had a bubble. The NFL better get a bubble. And the players at Major League Baseball will end up in a bubble. Second word is car. Third word is teeth. Fourth word is mouth. Fifth word is lips. Sixth word is key. Seventh word is frame, as in to frame a pitch. But don't be confused on the eighth word. It is picture, not pitcher. Not like you frame a pitch from the pitcher. It's picture. That's the eighth word. Number 9 is hat.
Hey, a sports term.
There you go. Like pitcher wears a hat. Hat. But remember, it's picture. And then finally, 10, smile. Smile. You're never fully dressed without a smile. When we're on break, Twins failed to score. Bases loaded. Miguel Sano hit a slow ball down third baseline. Bregman made a nice
play.
Got him by less than half of a step, but didn't get a run across. And but it just shows that they can get to Greinke. And that's what playoff baseball is, though. I mean, that's what I'm hoping for. I just hope everybody is going to take some time. You have some time off this week. Are you going to be watching the games tomorrow?
I will watch the games tomorrow for a little bit.
Who do you? The Cardinals at 4 o'clock, though.
Yep.
You'll watch that game?
I'll go pick up my daughter and then walk back home and turn it on.
Turn it on? My daughter was just kind of, I told her, I was like, hey, big day tomorrow. I said, you know what? We got games all day. Twins. She said, oh, that doesn't sound like fun. I'm like, what? You're not my kid. My son will like it. My son, that's the one thing. He may not like watch it, but he'll fake enthusiasm for me.
Perfect.
That's what I like. I just like the effort. Be like, oh yeah, Dad.
Kylie does that too.
Yeah, like
it's awesome.
He's like, oh, I really like the Twins. He said that to me on the walk home from school the other day. He's like, you know, I used to really like the Cubs, but I think I'm liking the Twins now. I said, hey, you can just like whoever you like, buddy. I appreciate the support. So, yeah, and I like that they're getting to the age where they're starting to like sports more, but Ben's still at the age where he doesn't realize that the Hawkeyes are NCAA and not in the NFL. So on Sunday, he's always asking me, and I'm like, we go through this every week, but they're not playing. They're not a professional team.
Not yet.
Yeah, and then we had the same conversation. Like, well, that's long foul ball, just a long strike. So how do you like the Chiefs' chances to repeat this year?
One game at a time.
One game at a time.
One game at a time.
I mean, that was it. That was the one that T-Roy was very much like, no, Baltimore. I said, no, it's got to be the Chiefs. And you got to let the champion, you got to ride the champions till they prove otherwise. Right?
Exactly. Till they get beat.
And then are you a basketball guy?
I like the Phoenix Suns for the NBA, but they wanted to go young, so Book was their stud. We'll see what happens next year.
Do you watch the NBA Finals?
I do. I started watching the finals way young when I was, 6, 7, 8 years old watching Jordan. And then my cousins from Phoenix were like, hey, you got to like the Suns. You got Steve Nash, Amari Stoudemire, Shaq. So I kind of stuck with that. But I actually did watch the whole thing of The Last Dance. That was amazing.
Well,
amazing production.
The thing that gets to me about The Last Dance is that this award season that's going on, when you have it, they're all in their living rooms or whatever else, and Jason Hare is not getting nearly the accolades that he should, meaning like we should be talking more and more. I mean, he's winning the awards, and rightfully so, the producer-director of it. But, I mean, we should still be talking about what a great job he did.
He did. He did an awesome job.
He's going to change documentaries for a long time now. By the way, when he took those interviews and then on camera got Jordan's responses by showing him the iPad,
I love that.
It was amazing.
It's brilliant.
You go from what his mom said about him to where he gets teared up, or when you have Gary Payton and he said, I didn't have any problem with the glove. Like that what he did there was amazing. And then the other thing that he did was to incorporate the music, and there was a lot of places that he couldn't get the rights to the music. But to incorporate the music, and he kept it more to the time frame that they were either flashing to, in the 90s or even in the 80s. So The Last Dance was amazing.
It was awesome.
I don't know how to like. It was at the perfect timing, and that's when you know like people get it, all right. And I'm talking about producers, ESPN.
Yep.
They get it, and they look what's going on with the quarantine. And that thing was supposed to come out in I think May or June,
something like that.
And then they bumped it up.
Yep.
Like when episode 1 and 2 aired, they were still editing 9 and 10.
Mhm.
They weren't done. So the people at ESPN said, "Can we get this done?" And they had to do all that editing while in quarantine. You have to keep that in mind. In New York, people were in their apartments, so they had to send stuff through computers and everything else. And to get that done, and how important it was to give us some type of sports, is I don't even know how.
Because they have to fill that slot.
Yeah, and to give it to us to allow us to talk about it, and it gave us one appointment TV, which we rarely have anymore because everything's streaming, and then two, like with that appointment, something to talk about the next day.
Perspective.
Yeah, and for that matter, I've never watched it a second time. It was just for me, and I would if it's on the background type of like a lot of 30.
Oh,
for,
yeah.
A lot of 30 for 30s. There's a lot like I'll sit down and watch it again, but for me, it was so good for 2 hours.
Oh, it was
to
awesome.
just smile every Sunday for 5 weeks.
Yep.
And I and that, and then the Jacoby and Jalen podcast afterwards, where they would have Jason Hare on and just the breakdown of it, and there's just it was really, really well done. And so someone else brought up in the end, who was it that they said they wanted to have, one of my friends in a thread was like, I want to have a Tiger Woods documentary when he has his last year, on the tour. And I said it won't be the same. And they said it would be bigger, and I said it won't be.
I don't think so.
Well, the problem being is that athletes either invest in or they own their own production companies now.
Correct.
So they tell the story.
Yep.
Michael Jordan just had final say of the story.
Mm-hmm.
He changed 3 things, and I can't even remember what the third is. Right now I don't even. He gave 3 things, and Jason Hare was scared to death because he's in Michael Jordan's in a quarantine. He's used to golfing 36 holes a day and just being like, yeah, do whatever. Well, now he wasn't, and he watched it, and he thought it was going to be like,
gotta go.
I don't want any of this on there. I know 2 out of the 3. One was the game that he came back, the games that he came back when he came back from retirement. All right, he goes, I want you to throw in the Atlanta game because that's when I hit the game-winning shot and I knew I could do it. Originally, that wasn't in there. And the other one was he wanted to put in his best friend, the driver, which that was a big deal to him, and it rightfully so. And I think that's
because like a father figure to him.
Well, as a brother,
yeah.
I mean, it was
awesome.
It was a brother in life and a brother in emotional support, everything, and it's all because of chance. I mean, that guy was in the airport, and he said so. The guy Jordan's waiting to get picked up. He just got drafted. He's getting to Chicago for the first time, and he's just sitting there, and he's like, "Oh, my driver's not here," and the guy goes, "Do you need a ride?" He thought he was Larry Jordan. He thought it was his brother. He goes, no, I'm Michael Jordan. I'm not. He goes, oh, and he goes, you look like you need a ride, and a place to get a haircut. And ever since then, and then he became best friends with him. The story of the pizza game. He's there in that hotel too.
Yep.
The flu incident.
Game.
By the way, did you know they went back and changed that, and it was technically had COVID?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Now it's the COVID game. They no longer call it the infamous flu game. I mean, it's just the way it goes. So, but like the stories are, and I don't off the top of my head, I don't know what the third thing he changed, but that's how much how great Jason Hare did. It was like he was just like, I'm not going to change it, and if it's another one of those things that you constantly do good work, you're going to get rewarded and other things. And because of his work that he did in the Allen Iverson documentary,
that was really good too.
That's what got Michael Jordan into it. That's what sold him. Michael Jordan was basically reading through everything and read this letter that he presented to him. And then when he looked at his resume, there's what I produced. He looked down and he goes, did you do that? He's like, yeah, the Allen Iverson. He goes, I watched it 3 times. He said, it made me cry. I love that little guy. And then he said, I'm in. And that's this film, these tapes sat in a basement forever. It's, that's probably all those stories and David Silver, the commissioner, like that's what I appreciate about the NBA. And David Silver was in charge of NBA Entertainment at the time. So it was an agreement between him and Jordan that you let us tape this for a year, and we, the two of us, will have the final say on if it ever airs. I mean, we have to agree.
Yep.
And he came to him and said, I give the okay to do it. Would you do it? To this Jason Hare, and he said, I'll look at it. And he said, I give the okay. And now David Silver's the commissioner, and I think the NBA does a great job of forward thinking.
They do a really good job.
How to make this better? What's going to make viewership? And to their detriment, they've done so well that they've got to figure out a way to get people to watch it again, because people watch it on their social media, because the NBA does such a good job getting games, slicing them and whatnot. So it's, again, like I said, to their detriment, whatnot. But
there's other shows like they have the Carter Effect about Vince Carter, how he started the whole thing in Toronto, but before he got drafted, and they traded him to Toronto.
Yeah.
Which made him huge on Netflix. And then there's another one. It's called Last Chance U, about former college football players going down to East Mississippi or Independence, Kansas, and playing for a small community college and winning titles, but also building their character back up, because they're kids that are disciplined, that are in jail, drugs, alcohol, gangs. And it really puts your life in perspective, where these kids have came from and now where they're at. It's an amazing series.
Do you watch a lot of sports documentaries?
I do. I like it. I also like to read sometimes too, the autobiographies, and I got a couple Harry Carey books and Pat Summitt.
Yeah.
Just
documentary, like 30 for 30s. I'm usually
those are really
with.
good.
I wanted to watch. There's some on HBO. Maradona one. Sometimes I just don't have the time for it, nor do I. I'm like, is this going to get me to where I want to go? I don't even get the motivation to do it. I wish I did more, to watch more. If it's not more of like my childhood or something I'm interested in, and also it has to do with my childhood, so it'd be 80s or 90s. I'm usually quick to get out. Like the Vince Carter one, it's great. It's not really something I would sit down and watch. I wouldn't watch anything about Kentucky basketball. I wouldn't, and
same,
and which is weird, which a lot of people wouldn't. But I'd watch a documentary backstory about a professional wrestler.
Oh hell, I would too, in a heartbeat.
Because it's just, to me, it's just, I like to hear the story, how they started, whatnot, and I like to hear the road stories.
I agree.
And everybody else, and
I agree.
Then you all of a sudden you hear something like, like if you look at the, was it Vice or Dark Side of the Ring or whatever it is about the Road Warriors, and you have Nikita Koloff on there, and I don't even know his real name, but here's a guy my entire life he taught himself, because by their kayfabe, he taught himself how to talk in a Russian accent or whatever else, and to hear him talk in English, I'm like, this is not right. So, but it's just weird. So I'll watch those, but I think it's also a documentary that I can have in the background, because wrestling is kind of like the mindless entertainment soap opera, and a documentary about it can something in the background. We don't have to pay attention to every detail.
No, I agree.
Yeah. But I as far as like going from where we were, and you were here and talking with Tyson, 6 months ago, to now getting into sports, I'm looking forward to other things. When we said like this week is what I think is the shot I needed to get excited about sports. And last night should have been the jumping off point. I don't know what's going on with Monday Night Football and what we can do to make it what it once was.
Oh, once was awesome. Dan Dierdorf and, those guys calling the games, man, that was fun.
Yeah,
it was fun to watch.
I'm saying like a must-see, like you got to go.
The must-see games.
Yeah, with people to get out to go watch a game. Like I was done coaching softball, and I was like, I'm going out to watch this game. I'm not going to go watch it at home. And driving past places that the parking lots weren't very busy, or you can see it, look in, and it wasn't very busy. And I can always take the side of like, well, this was going on. All right, if you need me to say, if someone's like, oh, why wasn't busy? Well, you got to look at this. One, we're in unprecedented times. People aren't going to go out.
Correct.
Two, the Green Bay Packer game was a night game. So a lot of people were out on Sunday night to watch that. So they're not going to turn around twice and either tell their family or their loved one, significant other, and say like, yeah, I'm going out again to watch team that if you just use the card like that's my favorite team, I have to watch the Packers, and then you can't really be like, well, this is my second or third favorite team. It doesn't work that way. So, but I really thought what T-Ray said, he said this game was going to be, the viewership was going to be at the Super Bowl.
I heard it too.
I don't think it was.
It didn't lead up. It led up to it.
Yeah.
But then when it actually happened, it's like, where did Jackson go? He didn't go. He didn't not even have 100 yards total.
Wow, time just flew. That was great. I love the conversation with you. Time just flew. It's 1:59. So we got 30 seconds left. All right, pay attention to what we're doing tomorrow. Don't know about the show. As far as time frame, I don't think we even know about the Cubs game on Thursday yet, because to be determined. So we'll watch that as well because we get interrupted. You guys have a safe and sanitized day. Kyle, thank you so much for coming in. I appreciate you, my man. Tyson, thanks for coming in as well.
Thanks, Tyson.
We'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Enjoy yourselves, Quad Cities.
Adios.
This is the Quad Cities sports leader, ESPN 11.